Corbin and Boaz, this is one of Rebecca and Matthew's favorite books from when they were young, and you might not be quite ready to listen to it, but it's such a good story. It's called One Morning in Maine by Robert McCloskey. He's the same guy who wrote about Make Way for Ducklings and Blueberries for Sal. And I don't know that this book has ever been read, so it's going to fight with us a little bit, Corbin. Sorry about that. One morning in Maine, Sal woke up. She peeked over the top of the covers. The bright sunlight made her blink, so she pulled the covers up and was just about to go back to sleep when she remembered, today is the day I'm going to Buck's Harbor with my father. Sal pushed back the covers, hopped out of bed, put on her robe and slippers, and hurried out into the hall. There was little Jane just coming out of her room. Jane had wiggled out of her nightie, so Sal helped her put on her robe and slippers. You don't want to catch cold and have to stay in bed, Jane, because this morning we're going to Buck's Harbor, Sal reminded her sister. Together, they went into the bathroom to get ready for breakfast. Sal squeezed out toothpaste on Sister Jane's brush and said, "Be careful, Jane. Don't put it in your hair." Then she squeezed some toothpaste on her own brush. And when she started to brush her teeth, something felt very strange. One of her teeth felt loose. She wiggled it with her tongue, and then she wiggled it with her finger. Oh dear, thought Sal. This cannot be true. Standing in front of the mirror, she looked and wiggled her tooth again. Sure enough, it was loose. You could even see it wiggle. "Mama!" she cried. "One of my teeth is loose. It will hurt, and I will have to stay in bed. I won't be able to eat my breakfast and go with Dad to Buck's Harbor." She came running down the stairs and into the kitchen. "Why, Sal," said her mother, "that's nothing to worry about. That means that today you've become a big girl. Everybody's baby teeth get loose and come out when they grow. A nice, new, bigger tooth will grow in when this one comes out." "Did your baby teeth get loose and come out when you grew to be a big girl?" asked Sal. "Yes," said Mother. "And then these nice large ones grew in. When Penny grew up to be a big dog, his puppy teeth dropped out too." "And will Jane's get loose too?" asked Sal. "Yes," said her mother, "but not for a long time. Not until she stops being a baby and grows up to be a big girl like you. Jane is so young that she hasn't even grown all her baby teeth yet. Now let's go upstairs and brush our hair and get dressed for breakfast." "It feels so different to be a big girl and have loose teeth," said Sal, "especially when you're chewing. When is it going to come out?" "Perhaps today, perhaps tomorrow," said Mother. "But when your tooth does come out, you put it under your pillow and make a wish, and your wish is supposed to come true." Said Sal. "I know what I'm going to wish for. A nice cold chocolate." "But you mustn't tell anybody your wish or it won't come true," cautioned her mother. "It's supposed to be a secret wish. Now finish your milk, Sal. Then you can go out to the beach and help your father dig clams for lunch." "I'm a big girl and I can help him dig lots of clams fast," said Sal, "so we can hurry up and go to Buck's Harbor." "Look, I think baby Jane spilled her milk, and the kitty cat is drinking up the milk that baby Jane spilled." After breakfast, Sal went out to help her father, and she saw a fish hawk flying overhead carrying a fish. There's the hawk, Corbin. See how he's carrying the fish in his claws? "I have a loose tooth," Sal called up to the fish hawk. The fish hawk flew straight up to the tree, to the nest, without answering her. She was too busy feeding her baby fish hawk. Sal wondered for a moment if baby fish hawk had any teeth to chew his breakfast. Then she started down toward the beach where Father was digging for clams. When she came near to the water, she saw a loon. Do you know what a loon is? A loon is a water bird. "I have a loose tooth," called Sal. "And today I have started to be a big girl." The loon did not say anything, but kept swimming in circles. Then he ducked his beak into the water and snapped out a herring. Can you see Sal on the beach? The loon swallowed it whole without a single chew. Said Sal. "Maybe loons don't have teeth either." When a seal poked his head up out of the water, Sal said to the seal, "I have a loose tooth." And the seal, being just as curious as most seals are, swam nearer to have a good look. "See," said Sal. She walked closer, right down onto the edge of the slippery seaweed. The seal swam nearer, and as Sal was stooping nearer, when, whoops, she slipped on the seaweed, and kaploosh! The seal disappeared into the water and laughed, and the seal disappeared beneath the water, and the loon laughed. Sal was not hurt a bit, so she laughed too, and then carefully got up. And she started down the shore to help Father dig clams. I bet she was a little bit soggy, do you think? Does this look like the beach in Delaware? Where you go with Grandma and Grandpa, with your mom and dad? I don't think so. This is a seashore in Maine. She paused to watch some gulls having breakfast. They were dropping mussels down on a rock to crack the mussels, just like nuts. Then they flew down to eat the insides. "Do seagulls have teeth?" wondered Sal as she wiggled one of her own loose with her tongue. She thought of her secret wish and smiled, then hurried down the beach where she could see her father. "Oh, I see her, Daddy. He's right there." And the seagulls were dropping mussels to crack them open so they could eat the insides. "Daddy, Daddy," Sal called, "I have a loose tooth. And when it drops out, I'm going to put it under my pillow and wish a wish. You can even see it wiggle." Her father stopped digging clams while Sal wiggled her tooth for him. "You're growing into a big girl when you get a loose tooth. What are you going to wish for when it drops out?" "Well, I can't tell you that," said Sal, "because it's supposed to be a secret wish." "Oh, well, yes, quite so." "May I help you dig clams?" "I'm almost finished," replied Father, "but you can help if you like. First, take off your shoes and socks and roll up your pants so they don't get all wet and muddy." Sal took off her shoes and socks and put them on a dry rock. Then she rolled up her pants and waded into the muddy gravel to help her father. He dug around in the mud with his clam rake, and they carefully felt around in the muddy hole for clams. "Oh, I found a tiny baby one," said Sal. "You certainly did, but it's too small. We just keep large ones like this." Look at the one in his hand. "Let's put the baby clam back in the mud so he can grow to be a big clam someday." "He is such a baby clam. I guess he is too small," she agreed. "I guess he isn't even big enough to have all his baby teeth," said Sal, placing the tiny clam tenderly back in the mud. "Clams don't have teeth," grunted her father, digging another rakeful of mud. "Not even big clams have teeth?" asked Sal. "No, not even big clams," assured her father. "Do baby fish hawks and big fish hawks have teeth?" "No," said her father. "Do loons have teeth and gulls?" "No." "Do seals have teeth?" "Yes, seals have them," he answered. "And do they get loose teeth like this?" Sal said, opening up her mouth and wiggling her loose tooth. "Oh!" she said with great surprise. She felt her tongue, and she felt with her muddy fingers. "Why, it's gone!" she said sadly, feeling just once more to make sure. The loose tooth really and truly was gone. The salty mud from her fingers tasted bitter, and she made a bitter-tasting face that was almost like a crying face. "Did you swallow it, Sal?" asked her father with a smile. "No," she shook her head sadly. "I was too busy asking to do any swallowing. It just dropped out itself. It's gone, and now I can't put it under my pillow to make my wish come true." "Well, that is too bad," her father sympathized. "But you're growing into a big girl, and big girls usually don't cry about little things like that. They wait for another tooth to come loose and make a wish on that one." Look at their clam basket. They're going to have all those clams for lunch. "Maybe we can find my tooth where it dropped," said Sal, hopefully feeling around in the muddy gravel where the clams lived. Sal's father helped her look. But a muddy tooth looks so much like a muddy pebble, and a muddy pebble looks so much like a little tooth, that they hunted and hunted without finding it. "We'll have to stop looking and take our clams back to the house, Sal," said Father, "or we won't have any time for the trip to the village." He washed off the clams in the clean salt water of the bay, and Sal reluctantly stopped looking and waded in to wash the mud from her feet and hands. "I guess some clam will find my tooth and get what I wished for," said Sal. "If we come back tomorrow and find a clam eating a chocolate ice cream cone, we'll have to take it away from him and give him my tooth back too. And make the clam give my tooth back too." While Sal put on her socks and shoes, her father packed seaweed around the clams to keep them nice and moist and fresh. "Now let's hurry back to the house, and in a few minutes we'll be on our way to Bucks Harbor in the boat to get milk and groceries." "Okay," said Sal. "Corbin, when you go to get groceries, do you get in a boat or do you ride in the van?" "I think you ride in the van." "What about you, Boaz? Do you ride in a boat to go get groceries?" Sal gave one last look at the muddy place where she'd lost her tooth, then started walking back along the shore with her father. She walked along slowly, looking at her feet so that her father could not see her face, in case it looked almost like crying. "Oh, see what I found," she said, stooping to pick up a gull's feather. It's a gull's feather," said her father, pausing for Sal to pick it up. "Did a gull lose it? Will another feather grow in where this one dropped out?" "Yes, that's how it works, Sal." "Well, maybe seagulls put dropped out feathers under their pillows and wish secret wishes," suggested Sal. "Seagulls do not use pillows, but I suppose they can make wishes," sighed her father. "Then I'll make my wish on this feather," Sal decided. "Perhaps the seagull has already made a wish on that feather and the wish is used up," suggested her daddy. "Oh, no, he didn't, you see. I guess because he was too busy flying and not looking back. He did not notice that it was loose, and he did not expect it to drop out. He doesn't even know it's gone," she convinced herself. She closed her own eyes tightly and wished her secret wish as she walked back with her daddy. When they reached home, Sal's mother and sister Jane were waiting with a whole box of empty milk bottles to return to the store and a list of things to buy. "I'll have a nice clam chowder ready for your lunch when you get back," said Sal's mother, waving goodbye. "I'll take good care of Jane," said Sal. "I'm a big girl and I can watch her so she does not tumble into the water." Sal, Jane, and their father went down to the shore and got aboard the boat. See how they're getting ready to get in the boat? Sal and Jane put on their life preservers while Father prepared to start the outboard motor. He pulled and pulled on the rope to start it, but the outboard motor just coughed and sputtered and would not start. So he had to row the boat all the way across Bucks Harbor to where the store was. Oh, I think Father was working very hard, Corbin and Bo, when he was rowing. That is hard work to row all the way across the harbor. The harbor was full of boats. Oh, look how full the harbor is. Lots and lots of boats. The harbor was full of boats when Sal's father rowed their boat rowed among them up to a landing and tied the boat up so it would not drift away while they were at the store. They all climbed ashore, and Sal's father brought along the milk bottles. He brought the outboard motor, too, so Mr. Condon, who ran the garage, could fix it. Look, here's Daddy carrying the milk bottles and the outboard motor. And there's Jane and Sal, and it looks like they're going to Mr. Condon's garage. As they came up the path to the village, Mr. Condon was outside his garage putting gas into a car. "I have a tooth out," Sal greeted him, "and our outboard motor won't run." My, such trouble," said Mr. Condon. And then he admired the empty place where Sal's tooth had been. They took the outboard motor into the garage to find out why it wouldn't run. "Oh, Corbin, this is an exciting place. Look, Jane's crawling on the tires." I think those were the milk bottles that Sal's daddy was carrying. And look at his shop. He's got a workbench. I'll just let you look at that for a couple minutes. Mr. Condon has lots of tools. Mr. Condon pinched a little with his pliers, tunked a little with his hammer, and then, after selecting a large wrench, he took out a spark plug. "It came right out just like that tooth of yours, didn't it, Sal?" he said, holding the spark plug up to the light. He grunted, tossing the spark plug onto the floor. "This motor needs a new plug." Sal was just about to ask how long it would take for a new spark plug to grow in when Mr. Condon reached up on the shelf and picked out a brand new one and put it in the motor. Sal picked up the old spark plug and handed it to Sister Jane. Jane was so little that she didn't understand about secret wishes. She was so little that she couldn't even say ice cream cone. So Sal wished a secret wish for Jane on the spark plug. Mr. Condon pulled the rope and the motor started right up, just as good as new. Sal's father thanked him and picked up the motor and then the milk bottles. Jane carried her spark plug and Sal carried her feather, and they said goodbye and walked across the street to where Mr. Condon's brother kept store. Oh, let's look at this outboard motor. This right here, this part is a propeller, and it goes around and around in circles when the engine's going. As they walked into the store, Mr. Condon, who kept the store, said, "Well, look who's here." "I have a tooth out," Sal shouted, returning Mr. Condon's greeting. Look, they have a rake and a mop for sale, and that looks like a shovel handle that Mr. Condon had at the store. Oh, and there's a very old-fashioned cash register. Sal showed them the empty place her tooth had been, first to Mr. Condon, then to Mr. Ferd Clifford, and then to Mr. Oscar Staples, who were sitting at the store talking about trapping lobsters and how the fish were biting. "Don't put your tongue in the empty place, and a nice shiny gold one like mine will grow in," said Mr. Clifford. "But I didn't know soon enough," said Sal. Mr. Condon said, laughing. "Don't you go worry about everything these jokers suggest. I don't suppose that you could eat an ice cream cone with one of your teeth out?" asked Mr. Condon. "Oh, yes, I could," said Sal, "and it's supposed to be chocolate." "What about this little lady?" Mr. Condon said, turning to Jane. "Hers is supposed to be vanilla, so the drips won't spot her clothing, but you'd better push it together tight so it won't drop off. She's almost a baby and doesn't even have all of her first teeth." After Mr. Condon put the groceries and the milk in the box, they thanked him once more and waved goodbye, and they walked down the path to the harbor. Look, he has a little animal there saying goodbye to his friends. All the way down the runway to the float where their boat was tied. They climbed aboard, carrying the outboard motor, the box of milk, groceries, the feather, the spark plug, and the ice cream cones. While their father listened to this outboard motor, while the father fastened the outboard motor to the boat, Sal and Jane finished their ice cream cones. "I want more," Jane demanded. "Silly," said Sal, "we've used up all our wishes." Then she remembered that she was growing up, and just like a grown-up, she said, "Beside, Jane, 2 ice cream cones would ruin your appetite. When we get home, we're going to have clam chowder for lunch." That is the end of One Morning in Maine by Robert McCloskey.